Airtech Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Wars Andor Season 1, Episode 9, and my thoughts on this episode. This is a good episode. I really did enjoy it. I loved what we found out at the end about the prison. I love the fact we're seeing more of the IFB. Again, this show shows that the Empire is an actual threat. They're not dumb. They can work things out. And I think that's a massive credit to the Andor series. Because in most Star Wars projects, especially under Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, the Empire, the First Order, they look like fucking morons. How the fuck do these people run a galaxy? And what I think Andor does, it just shows, yes, the Empire, you can fool them, but they're not incompetent. They are a threat. They are willing to do certain things to stay in power. And you've got to respect the writers for what they're trying to do here. Which is, I don't know, give a little bit of respect to the Empire, give them a little bit of a threat status, rather than what we've been getting so far from Disney. But yeah, I think this is a really good episode. You know, they made me care about a character we've only just met from the last episode, and then seeing what happened to him at the end of this episode, it was gut-wrenching, man. And other things we found out about what else the Empire's doing to certain people. Again, yes, this is how you do it. This is how you show the Empire being evil, rather than just telling us they're evil. Because just seeing the Empire being incompetent, it doesn't really make you want to fight against the Empire. But this episode, this really did want to make me fight the Empire. So, yeah, I really like this episode. I actually did enjoy Mon Mothma's scene, well, not scene, but part of this episode 2. I think she's not great in the show because, again, I feel that she's forced in just to give her a connection to Andor. I don't know why. But we saw her in this, well, I'll go into spoilers, but we saw more of, you know, what she actually does in this world. You know, we're not just focused on her fucking marriage. We're not just focused on a fucking child. We actually focus on what does she bring to the rebellion? What does she bring to the Senate? We find, well, not find out, but we see that in this episode, and I did enjoy that. But yeah, I think the episode's great. I think it's a shame that not a lot of people are watching Andor, which is unfortunate because it is a good show. But, you know, that's what Disney did to Star Wars. So, that's who you got to blame. But yeah, I think the episode's, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. I think it's really good. I think if we had more Star Wars like this, I think Star Wars would be in a better position. Not saying Andor's amazing, but it is to a level where you can watch it and actually enjoy it. But I do have one problem with this episode, and it's with Khan. And I'll go into that in spoilers, but what they're doing with Khan is a bit shit. Well, it's not a bit shit, it's completely shit. I mean, I'll go into that in spoilers, but come on, you could have done better with this character. I don't know what you're trying to achieve. Anyway, I'll get into that in spoiler. So, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. I think it's a good episode, and if you haven't watched it, I recommend it if you haven't watched it. So, let's get into spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So, Deidre is starting her interrogation of Bix, and pretty much wants to know where Andor is, what did he bring through Phalanx, you know, and we pretty much find out that she tortured the last guy, Bex's friend, and he pretty much told her everything she wants to know, and now she just needs to make double sure that he was telling the truth by getting Bex to tell her everything. But she knows that Bex is not just going to open up to her because, you know, well, she's done this before, so she just gets right down to pretty much telling Bex what's going to happen to her, which is torture. Now, I like this scene because when we find out how the person's tortured, we get a background of the torture method, which is apparently the Empire genocided this species of creature, and their dying cries apparently made a bunch of Imperial officers who were listening to the creatures being killed go insane. So the Empire saved those screams from the creatures, and now they use it as a torture method on people because apparently it really does work. Because after Bex goes through this for a little bit, she pretty much tells Deidre everything she wants to know, and Deidre then goes back to ISB headquarters, tells the command what she's found out, and the fact that they're pretty much close to now figuring out where and who Lefon is, basically. And they now understand that Lefon is trying to build some sort of network to a bigger rebellion, and that's what they're trying to stop. Because also in this episode we find out that ISB has captured a rebel pilot, and now they know about a rebel attack on an Imperial facility that they now want to set a trap for the rebellion so that they can capture more more rebels to interrogate, to find out how far this rebellion is going. Is it getting bigger? Are there any more threats to the Empire? So Deidre is doing pretty well in this episode. But let's get on to the bad part of this episode, which is Khan. He really is the incel character, isn't he? Which I'm pretty sad about. Again, Khan could be an interesting bad guy. Okay, he has everything, a bad guy needs. He's fucking annoying. He's, he's dedicated. He's really fucking pro-imperial. I mean, this guy could be a good bad guy. Unfortunately, they've made him into this weird, stalker person who lives with his mother. I mean, it just tells me that's what we're going with Khan. He's just going to be this side character who's going to creep us all out. Because he starts to stalk Deidre at ISB headquarters. By the way, probably not the smartest thing to do, as she could have him killed. I don't think anybody would give a shit except his mother. And yeah, he starts talking really weird to her, like he thought his life was over. He wanted to thank her personally for getting him a promotion at work, and it really did feel like he's falling in love with Deidre, which is just really, really weird, and makes him less of a compelling bad guy and more of just a creep that Andor might have to deal with soon. So again, they could sort this out. He should be an ISB. He should be the one leading the investigation to find Andor. But they just have him doing weird shit like this, which just, again, ruins his character for me, which is unfortunate. Mon Mothma's part of this episode is good, but there are a little bit of weird things in it as well. So we find out in this episode that she's still trying to halt the Emperor's power. She's trying to get the Imperial Senate on her side when she reminds them that they were all elected to the Imperial Senate to represent their people. All that's, political crap. And you kind of see in the Senate that, most of them are dead against her. They're pretty much on the Emperor's side because he pretty much gives them a shitload of power, so they're not really going to want to challenge the Emperor. And you do kind of see a little bit of how the Senate is working now, and how the Emperor holds his power, which is the Senate pretty much just let him have all this power. They don't really challenge him. And the people who do challenge the Emperor, they pretty much get laughed at, basically. So Mon Mothma goes home because a driver tells her that her cousin has arrived on Coruscant, and we find out that the cousin is the Val character, the rebel we saw with that group, you know, the blonde chick. So Val is Mon Mothma's cousin, and she's just there to see Mon Mothma, to see her family, and we get this like dinner scene with her and her family, where Mon Mothma's husband tells Val she needs a husband, and Val kind of does that, you know, thing about saying, oh, she just hasn't found the right guy yet, when we all know she's a fucking lesbian. And I am kind of worried they're going to make this weird fucking, oh, in Star Wars, gay people are all oppressed and shit. It's like, that's never been in Star Wars. There's been lesbians and shit in Star Wars in the 90s. Please stop trying to bloody make this some sort of fucking LGBT whatever bullshit, you know, scenario of if you're gay in Star Wars, the Emperor's going to fucking kill you. It's like, it's bullshit. Okay, it's bullshit. Why would the Empire have a problem with you being gay? Makes no sense. And I kind of think that's what they're doing with, or at least they may try to have a little, you know, wink to, let's just say, that's the Empire, they're against gay people. It's really weird. But if what we find out also with this visit with Val, that Mothma knows she's in the rebellion. They're pretty much working together. Mon Mothma wants to find out what she's been doing with the rebels, but she doesn't want to tell her that because she doesn't want to put her in danger. And she doesn't want to worry about a little sister. I mean, a young cousin. So I thought that was interesting. It is good to kind of see that Mon Mothma, you know, does care about her family, and you know, that's kind of interesting to find out about a relationship with her cousin. So yeah. Anyway, so let's end off with Andor being in prison. So Andor's pretty much trying to figure out a way to escape the prison. He's talking with his team. Apparently he's got some guy from another team to help him kind of figure out, you know, are the electrical systems or this electrical defense grid, you know, is it everywhere? Is there no way to beat it? Are the guards like protected everywhere they are? So, and to find out how many guards are in certain positions so that he can somehow grab a rifle and fight his way out, or he's just trying to figure out a way to escape the prison, basically. So when he pretty much approaches Andy Serkis, who's in this, and asks him about, you know, how many security guards, how many Imperials guard the entrance, could we get out? Andy Serkis' character is kind of like, listen, I don't want to fuck up my, you know, chances of getting out of this prison. If you want to, you know, talk to yourself about escaping, that's fine. I'm not going to go down that deluded road. And you can kind of see, listen, the Andy Serkis character, he just wants to do his work and get out of prison. And Andor, he just wants to escape. So you can kind of see that these, like, Andor's kind of talking to a brick wall who doesn't really want to listen. We also find out in the episode when about group 2, I think, or level 2 group, something weird happened to them because they all got killed on the same day. And when all the other workers find out about this, the Empire kind of tried to keep it quiet and try to remind the prisoners that if they don't shut up and do their work, they're going to all get shocked to death. There's also an old man on Andor's team who's struggling with his work right now because he's an old man and he has to work at this fast pace and it's pretty much killing him. So you go throughout the episode with Andor pretty much trying to figure out a way to escape, with the Andy Serkis character trying to, you know, get on with his job, and this old man just struggling, and Andor pretty much trying to help him because he's a caring bloke. But the final scene in this episode was the old man pretty much collapsed. He has a what is it called? Stroke. That's it. He has a stroke, and that pretty much ends him in the prison because he can't work, he can't stand up. So a doctor's called to deal with him, and Andy Serkis is trying to get the old man back on his feet because he's only got 40 more shifts to do before they let him go from the prison, and he doesn't want to die in this prison. But when the doctor arrives and tries to, does his checkup on the patient, on the old man, it's pretty much, he's done. There's no helping him. The stroke's pretty much killed him, and he's just going to end his suffering by giving him something to just kill him in a decent way. But when Andor asks about what happened to level 2 and all the men there, the doctor pretty much tells them they figured out something massively evil that the Empire is doing. So apparently somebody from another level who was supposed to be released from the prison got sent to their level, and when the prisoners found out about this, they started to riot, and they wanted to pretty much kill every Imperial in that prison, because it turns out this prison, you're not going to get released from it. Apparently there's new rules from the Empire that are saying once you've done your time in prison, they're just going to keep you, and that's your lot in life. Your life is just going to be building for the Empire, and they'll just kill you if you don't cooperate. And Andy Serkis' character, who's just been thinking, all I got to do is do my time, do my work, and the Empire will let me go, pretty much figures out now, yeah, there's no escape. The Empire's just going to keep me here for the rest of my life. I'm just going to be a cheap slave for them to work to death. And so Andy Serkis pretty much tells Andor what he's been wanting to know all this episode, which is how many prison guards guard the entrance to the prison. And he tells him 12, and that's how the episode ends. And I really do like how they finally shown something actually decent about how bad the Empire is. I mean, you're telling these prisoners to work like pretty much 10 or 15 hours a day building stuff for you with a chance of freedom, and you're then just going to send them back into the prison system. I mean, that is evil, man. That is massively evil. And so it was good to see the Andy Serkis character finally realise there is no escape, and maybe a jailbreak would be the best way. And I absolutely enjoyed that. It was a great episode, and I do hope we keep getting more of Andor. I don't think it's a bad show. It is boring in some episodes, but when you get to the good stuff, it is pretty good. And again, it's a 7 out of 10 for me, and I can't wait for next week's episode. That's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do figure out subscribing. Entertain World Soldier. Bye.